Всем привет, с вами Стирада, и мы продолжаем What Remains of Edith Finch. Нам в эту дверь надо пройти теперь. Мы уже половину смертей видели, то есть пол семьи уже у нас, к великому сожалению,
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Мне кажется, если семьи было слишком много потерь. Один за другим умирает. Это детское вообще ужасно.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Тут больше никого и нет. Только я, лягушка и уточка.
That's over, Gregory. It's time to... Hold on, sweetie.
Нет, 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 вытащи меня отсюда.
Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
Правильно, не надо ни с кем говорить. Вытащи ребенка из ванны.
I wonder what he saw.
Я поняла, надо уточек сбивать.
What his world was like.
Эй.
He reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination.
Мне кажется, это очень мило.
Whatever it was, he saw.
Ну, это просто ребенок очень сильно развитое воображение было. Что еще мог ребенок видеть?
Sure made him happy.
Я сейчас понимаю, это у нас включится к нашему огромнейшему несчастью вода. Ребенок утонет. Но это слишком жестоко. Давайте быстрее. Ну хорошо. Я так понимаю, мы никак не можем повлиять на сюжет. Надо мыло сбить.
I know how silly it sounds.
Это шампунька.
That I worried about a baby being too happy.
Если
I
не
could
надо,
feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could.
Давайте сбирайте меня
Maybe if
отсюда.
I hadn't called that night.
Damn it. Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
I wish he could have told us about the world he saw.
Давай выключай. Дурацкая лягушка, ты во всем виноват. Давай выключай, Вроде.
There's so much I don't understand about Gregory. About everything.
Грегори просто был маленьким мечтателем. Все дети были самым огромным
But I
мечтателем.
know what happened wasn't your fault.
Конечно, не ее вина. Но она, правда, оставила ребенка, когда он умер.
I'm sure he's happy.
А я не уверена.
And he'd want you to be happy too.
Не знаю, где детей
Good luck,
оставлять.
Kay. Love, Sam.
Нет, у детей действительно не надо оставлять от них в ванной. Ему был всего годик. Мне кажется, эту всю семью надо было закрыть, там, лишить родительских прав их всех. У них столько
I
детей.
can't imagine my mom ever
В
writing poetry, and
пустом
yet
месте.
a poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard.
Иногда дети не любят свадьбу, потому что свадьба — это перемена. Не все любят перемены. Многим страшно что-то менять в своей жизни.
My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart.
Всего-то что много проходит. Страх перед переменами. Любовь к свадьбе. Некоторые так ненавидят.
I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom were the words that I
Now
remember.
pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Новой маме не обрадовался бы никто. Пытается свадьбу сорвать. Почему у вас не получается сорвать эту свадьбу? Хорошо. Вам не нравится эта новая мама. Она отсюда любит видео. Давай, ты сможешь.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger.
Принуждение ни к чему хорошему никогда не приводит. Только еще больше
The wind
негатива
picked
зовет.
up,
Не хочет,
and
не надо.
panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent. The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder."
Мне нравится такая погода. Вообще есть поверье, что если дождь во время свадьбы, то это к счастью. Мне бы понравилась такая погода на самом деле для свадьбы. Оу. Если бы, естественно, не такой.
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you. She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Они просто оставляли детей без присмотра. Всех детей. Все умерли просто по беспечности, безответственности. Полезный вверх.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
Она еще очень прыткая.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay. Louis was born a year later. When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal, but it didn't last.
Возможно, за ее мамой следовали все эти несчастья.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
Ничему в жизни
After
не
Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Пошли посмотрим, что там внутри.
I think Edie was happy to finally have another painter in the family.
Художников все любят. И художник, и астроном. О такой комнате мечтают все в детстве. Да какой в детстве? Даже я сейчас была бы дико счастлива, если бы у меня была бы комната со стеклянным потолком, где можно было бы любоваться звездами. Мечта любого взрослого даже. Что уж там.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Я такое же рисовала в детстве. Тут немного другой истории. У меня там была какая-то драка. Как в Mortal Kombat. Ну, в принципе, мне и нравился Mortal Kombat. Что уж тут удивляться. Вполне правдоподобно.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared. Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Пошли дальше. Хотя бы все не прогнившее. Так, придется назад теперь возвращаться. Зачем нам их заставлять одной из сторон? Теперь приходится обходить. О, у нее... Это пузико, да? Да, у нее видно пузико. Я бы с этим пузиком все-таки рисовалась бы.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Louis blamed himself.
Вот куда она лезет?
After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
Полезли сюда. Это качели или это просто сидушки? Ну, конечно же, не ищем легких путей. Давай, открывай.
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Вы чертовы наркоманы. Точно буздуешь. Курение — это плохо. Наркотиков еще хуже.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to
уплывать? Давай, давай, рыбу.
Wander. I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads.
И наркотики. Уже тяжелые наркотики на этот раз. Мы сюда можем пройти?
And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself.
Нашел. Как не совсем подходящим образом.
But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused.
Делать все на автомате, на самом деле.
Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on.
По факту он просто закрыл на это глаза.
I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend.
Воображаемый?
On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him. that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished.
Долго же он до этого доходил.
He held an election for mayor.
На которых он и победил, я угадала.
And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on.
Он был геймером.
New Louisville.
Любил стратегии. Нет.
St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality.
А он любил все свою честь называть.
Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on.
Дома неинтересно,
In
дома у него
Louisville,
нет
he heard rumors of
городов.
a handsome queen.
Да, выбираем принцессу.
The queen was on her own quest for
Давай радугу.
radiant rainbows.
Немного радуги. Хоть чего-то позитивного.
He followed the sound of her
С проблемами у нас явные проблемы. Но он же наркоман. Арфа. Так, это больше электрогитару похоже.
electric sitar.
Это электрогитара, давай не ври мне тут. Играем мы тоже, походу, не очень.
His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination.
Дайся в них рыбу. Приветствуйте меня, нате вам, всем рыбы. Всем рыбы за мой счет. Куда она ушла?
But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
Он был богом. Моя величие. Все свою честь.
For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace.
Шизофрения, нет? Как называется?
My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
А у себя вообще приходил, интересно? А вот наш шкафчик, видно.
Began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
Неприятно, потому что ничего не добился в жизни. Поэтому неприятно. Это
He began to
разочарование.
despise the man with a royal contempt.
Это вот так вот он работал? Ты хотя бы рыбу возьми.
I still thought I could save him.
Напрасно.
Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder.
Он оставался наркоманом.
The palace would be packed with his companions.
Значит, друзья у него были наркоманы. Привет!
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on inviting him.
Вот нас принцесса ждет здесь. Конец конвейера. Эскалатор там был построен.
His queen waited, holding his crown.
Сашка хотела по ступенькам подниматься. Он не продумал.
There was only one thing left to do.
Осталось отказаться от бренной жизни.
Bend down his head.
Естественно.
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Эмили Нут. Который забил на него в итоге.
My
Ну, как
brother
она
was
начала
really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Она именно забила на него. То есть она знала, что он в своем воображаемом мире живет по большей части, и да, он работает. Все его хвалят, почему бы не оставить все так, как есть? Почему бы просто не забить? Тут опять у нас все шапка.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder.
Они все на дом все равно сваливают. Я все сваливаю на
I
маму.
wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left.
Я бы бежала, на самом деле.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
Мама? Нет.
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
Я всегда мечтала, чтобы у меня было перо. Но это закончилось только
That whole
мечтой.
last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
To our final night together, and all our final nights apart.
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles.
When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
Дом Стейс. Второй проход. То и третий, четвертый, мне кажется.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight.
Нельзя так ругаться.
We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Отлично, просто избавился.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way.
Иди прямо, просто не сворачивай с пути. Там же просто прямо надо идти.
I got turned around.
Эй, действительно надо повернуть.
For a while, I wondered. I started seeing things.
Где-то рядом Гарри Поттер. Диметров отгоняет.
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me.
Старая вещь подбирала.
Or maybe I came back to them.
Мне кажется, не стоило возвращаться.
Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go!
Порвет.
I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone.
Мне кажется, скорее сердце.
After that, we moved around a lot.
Когда так человека бросают. Да просто избавляются.
We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. the last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Да уж, это на самом деле одна из самых созидавительных игр из всех, которые я играла. Ей так впечатлительно до безумия, наверное, поэтому, мне тяжело, если честно, в такие игры играть, и потери близких. Даже если постоянно это комментировать и как-то абстрагироваться от всего этого, все равно, на самом деле, сознание неизбежности всего этого. Это ужасно, честно. Я надеюсь, что у каждого в жизни как можно более в позднем возрасте произойдут какие-либо утраты. Я всем вам желаю, чтобы вы не знали горечи потерь. Это была хорошая игра и очень грустная. Все равно какой-то грустный осадок остается после ее прохождения. Но надеюсь, он скоро пройдет и у меня, и у вас. Игра, в принципе, достойная. Очень хорошая игра. Подписывайтесь, комментируйте, ставьте лайки, жмите на колокольчик, чтобы первым узнавать о выходе новых сериях. Также в соцсетях подписывайтесь. Ссылки в описании под видео. С вами мы увидимся в следующих видео. Пока-пока.